Hi, it's LVL Limited here. Have you ever spent hours prepping for an interview, only to get hit with the dreaded, "We've decided to move forward with other candidates" email? It's the worst feeling, right?
You start to question everything. Was it something I said? Did I not have enough experience? Maybe my shoes didn't match my belt.
Before you spiral down the rabbit hole of self-doubt, it might not be about your qualifications at all. It could be common interview mistakes. Job interviews can be terrifying. You're nervous, you're trying to impress, and sometimes your brain just goes blank. But the good news is, most interview mistakes are totally avoidable. That's why I'm breaking down the top 5 interview mistakes that could be costing you the job. And more importantly, I'm going to give you actionable tips on how to fix them. So, if you're ready to ditch the interview jitters and finally land that dream job, stick around. This video is packed with insider tips that will give you the edge you need to crush your next interview. In the age of Google, there's no excuse to walk into an interview knowing nothing about the company.
Imagine this. You're Lisa and you're interviewing for a marketing position at a tech startup. You walk into the interview feeling confident, but then the interviewer, Mark, asks you,
"So Lisa, what interests you about working at company name?"
and you freeze. You stammer out something vague like, well, the job description sounded interesting.
Not exactly a power move, right? Now let's rewind and imagine Lisa had spent just 15 minutes on the company's website beforehand. She could have casually mentioned,
I was really impressed by your recent campaign on social media, especially how you used humor to connect with a younger audience.
See the difference? By doing your research, you're not just answering a question, you're demonstrating initiative, thoughtfulness, and a genuine interest in the company's work. Dive deeper. Check out their recent news articles. Look at their social media presence, see what people are saying about them on Glassdoor. The more you know, the more you can tailor your answers to their specific needs and values. Remember, an interview is a two-way street. You're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you. By showing up prepared and informed, you're signaling that you're not just looking for any job, you're looking for the right fit.
So what do you know about our company?
I saw the job post, and it seemed interesting, but I didn't have much time to check the details.
We're a leading tech firm. Researching the company shows interest, but let's continue.
Always research the company's mission, recent news, and culture. That way you can show you're genuinely interested.
I saw that your company recently expanded into AI, and I love how you're using technology to improve healthcare. That really excites me about this role.
Great, let's dive into the role.
Let's talk about the art of answering interview questions, because it really is an art form. The goal is to be concise, clear, and compelling, but so often we fall into the trap of rambling.
Tell me about a time you overcame a challenge at work.
Talks for 3 minutes, goes off topic, gets nervous.
Thanks, but could you summarize that?
Remember, they're evaluating your ability to communicate effectively, and rambling suggests you haven't quite mastered that skill. So, how do you avoid the rambling trap? Enter the STAR method, your secret weapon for structuring compelling interview answers. STAR stands for Situation, Task, Action, Result. It's a simple framework that helps you break down any behavioral interview question into digestible chunks. First, you set the situation, providing context for your story. Then you describe the task at hand. What were you responsible for? Next, you outline the action you took to address the situation. And finally, you wrap up with the result of your actions. Using the STAR method not only keeps you focused and on track, it also ensures you're highlighting the most relevant information.
At my last job, our team was behind on a project. I suggested a new workflow that cut review time by 30%, and we met the deadline.
That's a great example. Moving on.
Let's be real, we've all had jobs we'd rather forget. Maybe you had a micromanaging boss, or your coworkers were straight out of a nightmare sitcom. But no matter how tempting it is to vent about your past work experiences in an interview, resist the urge.
Here's the thing. Bad-mouthing your previous employer is like shooting yourself in the foot. It instantly raises red flags for the interviewer. They start to wonder, if they're this negative about their old company, what are they going to say about us down the line? Plus, it just makes you look unprofessional.
Remember, the interview is about showcasing your skills and experience, not airing your dirty laundry. Even if your previous boss was the literal worst, there's always a way to frame your departure in a positive light.
Instead of saying, "My manager was a complete control freak and I couldn't stand working there another minute," try something like, "I'm looking for a company that encourages autonomy and empowers its employees to take initiative." See the difference?
You're essentially conveying the same message, that you weren't happy in your previous role, but instead of focusing on the negative, you're emphasizing what you're looking for in a new opportunity. This shows maturity, self-awareness, and a focus on growth.
Why did you leave your last job?
Ugh, my boss was terrible. They micromanaged everything and I couldn't stand it.
I see.
Even if your last job was a nightmare, never badmouth past employers. Instead, focus on what you learned and why you're looking for growth.
I'm looking for new challenges and a company that encourages creativity. I loved my last team, but I'm excited to grow in this new opportunity.
That's a great attitude.
All right, let's talk about a secret weapon that can make or break your interview body language. You could have the perfect resume, ace every interview question, and still sabotage your chances with negative body language.
Think about it. You're interviewing someone for a job and they're slouching in their chair, avoiding eye contact and fidgeting nervously. Would you feel confident in their abilities? Probably not.
Even if they have the right qualifications on paper, their body language screams, "I'm not interested, I'm not confident, and I'd rather be anywhere but here." Now, imagine the opposite. The candidate sits up straight, makes direct eye contact, and uses natural hand gestures when they speak. They seem engaged, enthusiastic, and genuinely interested in the conversation. Who do you think is going to make a better impression?
The truth is, our nonverbal cues speak volumes. They convey confidence, enthusiasm, and trustworthiness, or the lack thereof. So, how do you master the art of positive body language? It's all about being mindful of your posture, eye contact, and gestures.
First things first, posture. Sit up straight, but not stiff. Imagine there's a string pulling you up from the crown of your head. This not only makes you look more confident, it also helps you project your voice and engage with the interviewer.
Next, eye contact. This one can be tricky, especially if you're nervous, but maintaining natural eye contact, not staring them down, but not avoiding their gaze either, shows that you're listening, engaged, and confident in what you have to say.
Finally, gestures. Use your hands naturally when you speak. It helps emphasize your points and makes you appear more animated and engaging. But avoid fidgeting. Tapping your foot, clicking your pen, or playing with your hair can be distracting and make you seem nervous or disinterested.
Yes, what does success look like in this role in the first 6 months?
You seem confident and passionate. That's great to see.
We've all been there. You're at the end of an interview, you've covered all the bases, and the interviewer asks the dreaded question, "So, do you have any questions for me?" And your mind goes blank. You stammer out a weak, "Nope, I think you covered everything," and mentally kick yourself as you walk out the door.
Look, I get it. Interviews are nerve-wracking, and sometimes your brain just decides to check out at the worst possible moment. But here's the thing. Not asking questions at the end of an interview is a huge missed opportunity. It makes you look unprepared, uninterested, and frankly, a little lazy.
Think about it from the interviewer's perspective. They've just spent the last 30 minutes grilling you about your skills and experience. Don't you think they'd appreciate a little curiosity on your end? Asking thoughtful questions shows that you're engaged, you're genuinely interested in the role, and you've been paying attention.
But what kind of questions should you ask? Avoid anything that makes you seem entitled or uninformed. For example, don't ask about salary or benefits in the first interview. Save those questions for later in the hiring process. Instead, focus on questions that demonstrate your interest in the company, the role, and the team.
Here are a few examples. What are the biggest challenges the person in this role will face? What does success look like in this position in the first 6 months? Can you tell me more about the company culture and work-life balance? These questions show that you're thinking beyond the job description and that you're genuinely invested in finding the right fit. Plus, it gives you valuable information that can help you make an informed decision if you're offered the position.
Do you have any questions for me?
Nope, I think I'm good.
All right, thanks for coming in.
Not asking questions makes you look uninterested. Here are great questions you can ask.
Yes. What does success look like in this role in the first 6 months?
Great question. We want someone who can improve our workflow and bring new ideas.
Boom, asking thoughtful questions makes you stand out. Look, we've all been there. The sweaty palms, the racing heart, the feeling that you're one awkward answer away from blowing it. But remember, everyone makes mistakes, especially when the pressure is on. The important thing is to learn from them and keep improving. So the next time you're prepping for an interview, take a deep breath and remember these 5 key takeaways. Do your research, structure your answers, stay positive, master your body language, and always ask thoughtful questions. By avoiding these common mistakes, you'll be well on your way to landing that dream job. If you've made these mistakes before, don't worry, you're not alone. Now you know how to fix them and ace your next interview. Now I want to hear from you. What's your biggest interview struggle? Let me know in the comments below and maybe I'll make a whole video about it. And don't forget to subscribe for more career advice and tips every week. Good luck out there.